Have you ever had an itchy patch on your body that simply refuses to go away? At first glance, it might seem like nothing more than a small irritation, but in reality, itching in certain areas can sometimes be an early signal of heart problems. As the years pass, our bodies develop unique ways of letting us know when something isn't quite right, and in some cases, that persistent itch may be your heart trying to get your attention. In this story, we'll look at 6 different places where unexplained itching can appear and why these seemingly minor sensations could point to underlying cardiovascular issues. Understanding these subtle warnings is incredibly important because recognizing them early and taking action could protect your long-term health. Stick with me until the end. You might discover a detail you've overlooked that could make a real difference for your heart. Let's start with one of the most common spots, the lower legs and feet, particularly around the ankles. This part of the body sits farthest from the heart, which means when circulation isn't working properly, the effects often show up there first. Poor blood flow can cause fluid to collect in the lower limbs, leading to swelling, discomfort, and that frustrating itch. When the heart struggles to pump blood as it should, blood tends to pool in the legs and feet, a problem especially common in older adults dealing with circulation-related health issues. As fluid builds up, the skin can become red, irritated, and unbearably itchy. Consider the experiences of Walter and Mabel. Walter, age 78, had been noticing swelling in his lower legs for several months. At first, he brushed off the itching, thinking it was nothing more than dryness, but when the irritation worsened and his legs began to swell, he finally made an appointment with his doctor. After some tests, the doctor discovered that Walter's heart wasn't pumping blood as effectively as it should, which was limiting circulation to his legs. Mabel also struggled with itching in her lower legs, though she didn't connect it to her heart at first. Once she learned that poor circulation could cause these symptoms, she began monitoring her body more closely and eventually sought medical guidance. Itchy lower legs and feet are often a direct result of reduced circulation, a clear sign that your heart may not be performing at full strength. If you notice persistent itching in this area, especially if it comes with swelling or changes in skin color, it's crucial to reach out to a healthcare professional. Treating the underlying heart condition not only relieves the itch, but also improves overall health. The earlier you deal with circulation issues, the better your chances of preventing serious complications. So don't dismiss these signs, even if they seem minor. Another area to pay attention to is the chest, particularly near the heart itself. Persistent itching here can sometimes be linked to blockages in the arteries, such as with coronary artery disease. When blood flow to the chest area is restricted, the skin can become irritated, leading to itching, discomfort, or even a sensation of tightness. The chest is highly sensitive, and while most people associate heart disease with pain or pressure, itching can also be one of its early signs. Take, for instance, Eleanor and Frank. Eleanor, at 80 years old, noticed that she often had an itch across her chest. She assumed it was just dryness, but when the itch lingered and she began to feel occasional tightness, she decided to see her doctor. Tests revealed that she had a blockage in one of her coronary arteries, which was limiting healthy circulation to the skin in that area. Frank, meanwhile, had also been experiencing similar irritation, but didn't think much of it. He never imagined that itching could be connected to his heart until his doctor explained how circulation problems sometimes show up in the skin. The chest is one of the first places where heart disease can make itself known, and the signs are not always dramatic. If you notice recurring itching in your chest, especially when it comes along with other symptoms like shortness of breath, dizziness, or unusual fatigue, don't ignore it. Getting a thorough evaluation from a doctor could uncover an issue before it becomes serious. By catching these early signs, you can take steps to strengthen your heart and reduce the risk of complications later on. If you're finding these insights helpful, go ahead and drop the number 2 in the comments so I know you're still with me. And if you haven't hit subscribe yet, I'd encourage you to do so, and don't forget to turn on the little bell icon. That way, you'll never miss future content, and your support helps us keep creating information designed to guide and inspire you. Now, let's move to another spot where itching might be telling you more than you think, the back of the neck. It's one of those areas people rarely pay attention to, but ongoing itching in this region can sometimes be linked to high blood pressure or circulation issues, both major red flags when it comes to heart health. When the blood isn't flowing properly through the neck, it can create that annoying itchy sensation, especially around the nape. The skin here is sensitive, so even minor circulation problems can trigger irritation. Think about the experiences of Albert and Hazel, both 77. Albert, a longtime smoker, noticed that the back of his neck wouldn't stop itching. At first, he brushed it off as dry skin or maybe a mild allergy, but when the irritation became constant and he started feeling unusually lightheaded and tired, he went to the doctor. The checkup revealed that his high blood pressure and poor circulation were likely behind the itching. Hazel had been dealing with neck itching on and off for months, but dismissed it as stress or changes in the weather. After hearing what Albert had gone through, she finally decided to check her blood pressure and discovered it was elevated too, which explained both the itching and her circulation issues. The truth is, the back of the neck is easy to ignore, but it shouldn't be overlooked. Persistent itching there can be your body's way of signaling poor circulation or cardiovascular strain, especially when paired with symptoms like headaches, dizziness, or general fatigue. It's not always just the skin reacting to the environment. Sometimes it's reflecting an internal problem that needs medical attention. If this sounds familiar, it's a good idea to talk with a healthcare provider. Another place where heart problems can sometimes show up is in the hands and wrists. On the surface, itchy hands might seem like a small inconvenience, but in certain cases, they can point to more serious issues. When the heart struggles to pump effectively, fluid can build up in the tissues. This extra fluid leads to swelling, and as the skin stretches to handle it, that's when itching develops, often in the hands, wrists, or even down in the legs. This is particularly common in older adults with conditions like heart failure, where blood doesn't circulate as strongly as it should. Take Clara and Victor, both in their early 70s. Clara had been dealing with constant itching in her hands and wrists for weeks. She figured it was just dryness or maybe seasonal allergies. But when the irritation persisted and she noticed her hands were starting to swell, she finally went to her doctor. The tests showed her heart wasn't pumping blood efficiently, leading to fluid buildup in her hands and wrists. Victor went through something similar. He felt the same itchiness and swelling, but never thought it had anything to do with his heart. Only after speaking with his doctor did he realize these were early signs of heart failure. Here's the key point. Itching in your hands and wrists that doesn't go away isn't something to ignore. When it comes with swelling, tiredness, or shortness of breath, it could be your heart telling you it needs help. The upside is that once heart disease is treated and circulation improves, these symptoms usually ease up. If this discomfort keeps happening to you, don't brush it aside, get it checked out. And before we move on, if these insights are striking a chord with you, drop the number 4 in the comments so I know you're following along. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do that too and turn on notifications. That simple action helps us keep producing valuable content to support and inspire you. Itching around the stomach or along the sides of the abdomen is something many people ignore, yet in certain situations, it can actually point to a heart-related issue. For older adults, one possible link between abdominal itching and heart problems is the buildup of fluid in the belly. This happens when the heart isn't pumping blood as efficiently as it should, a condition known as heart failure. As circulation slows, fluid can gather in the abdominal area, which causes swelling, bloating, discomfort, and sometimes a persistent itchy sensation. On top of that, reduced blood flow can make the skin in this region dry, tight, and irritated. Take Gordon and Agnes, both 77, as an example. Gordon noticed some occasional itching around his stomach, but he didn't think it was worth worrying about. Over the months, though, he began to feel unusually bloated, particularly after eating, and a nagging discomfort followed him throughout the day. It wasn't until he developed shortness of breath and constant fatigue that he finally went to see a doctor. Tests revealed that Gordon was experiencing reduced heart efficiency, and the fluid buildup in his abdomen was one of the signs. Agnes's story was quite similar. She also dealt with itching and swelling, but assumed it came from stress or changes in her diet. Only after her physician explained the connection between heart failure and abdominal fluid retention did she realize that her symptoms were not something to overlook. If you ever notice ongoing itching around your stomach, especially if it comes with swelling or breathing difficulties, don't brush it aside. It could be one of the early clues of heart failure or another cardiovascular issue that needs medical attention. The sooner the underlying heart condition is addressed, the sooner those irritating symptoms can ease, and more importantly, your overall health can be protected. Now, let's talk about another often missed warning sign: itching around the elbows and knees. Many people chalk this up to dry skin or minor irritation, but in reality, it can also signal circulation problems connected to heart disease. When the heart is struggling, as in cases of atherosclerosis or heart failure, blood flow slows down in certain parts of the body. The elbows and knees, with their thinner skin and naturally reduced circulation, become especially vulnerable. For seniors, whose circulatory systems are already under strain, this type of itching can be particularly telling. Consider Norman and Edith, both in their early 80s. Norman noticed some itching around his elbows and knees that would come and go. At first, he brushed it off as nothing serious. But after a few months, the itching grew more constant and his joints began to swell. Concerned, he went to the doctor, only to learn that his arteries were narrowing and blood wasn't moving properly through his limbs. Edith, meanwhile, had been experiencing similar itching but didn't connect it to her heart. After hearing about Norman's diagnosis, she finally visited her doctor and learned that her circulation needed closer attention. That's why it's so important to pay attention to itching in places like the elbows and knees. What feels like a small annoyance may actually be your body's way of telling you that your heart isn't working at full capacity. And if this itching is paired with swelling, pain, or fatigue, it's even more critical to get it checked out. Early treatment can stop these circulation issues from developing into something far more serious. If you're finding these insights helpful, drop a number 6 in the comments so I know you're following along. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to hit that button and turn on the notification bell. You'll be the first to know when new content comes out, and your support allows us to keep creating material that educates and inspires. The bigger message here is this: itching in specific parts of the body isn't always just a skin issue. Especially in older adults, it can be an early sign of heart or circulation problems. Ignoring it could mean missing your body's warning signals. The positive side, though, is that many of these conditions can be managed if caught early. With proper medical guidance and lifestyle adjustments, you can improve circulation, protect your heart, and ease these uncomfortable symptoms. So if you notice unexplained itching, whether it's around your stomach, your elbows, or your knees, don't just reach for the lotion. Especially if it comes with swelling, shortness of breath, or chest discomfort, make it a priority to see your doctor. Heart disease is serious, but the good news is that with the right care and attention, you can manage it and still live a long, fulfilling life. Remember, it's never too late to take steps for better heart health, and even small changes today can add up to big improvements tomorrow. Thank you for staying with me through this discussion. I'd love to hear from you. Share one thing you've learned today in the comments, and let us know how you plan to apply it in your own life. Your words encourage us more than you know. And if you enjoyed this piece, please like, share, and subscribe so we can continue bringing you content that matters. Until next time, take good care of your heart and yourself.